Do you want to successfully complete the CompTIA Network Plus exam? Then you are in the right place. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, where thousands of students have found their path to exam success. Our website provides completely free access to over 300 practice questions with detailed explanations and comprehensive study guides covering every exam objective. Everything you need for success on your first attempt for free. In this video, we will cover questions from networking fundamentals, network implementations, network operations, network security, and network troubleshooting. So, let's get started. 1. A user reports they cannot access a specific internal web application. As the network technician, your first step according to a standard troubleshooting methodology should be to A. Immediately reconfigure the user's network settings. B. Establish a theory of probable cause, like a server outage. C. Gather more information by asking the user specific questions about the problem and identifying symptoms. D. Document the problem in the help desk system. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Gather more information by asking the user specific questions about the problem and identifying symptoms. Explanation. Option C is correct because the first step of any standard troubleshooting methodology is to identify the problem. This involves gathering information, asking clarifying questions. For example, can others access it? What error message do you see? And clearly defining the symptoms before proceeding. Option A, immediately reconfigure the user's network settings, is incorrect because making changes without understanding the problem can introduce new issues. Option B, establish a theory of probable cause, like a server outage, is incorrect because this is the second step, which should be based on the information gathered in the first step. Option D, document the problem in the help desk system, is incorrect because while important, gathering the initial details to understand the problem is the immediate first action. Two, a network technician is troubleshooting an issue where multiple users in one department cannot access the internet. The technician suspects a problem with the department switch. They decide to test connectivity from a user's PC to the switch, then from the switch to the core router, and then from the core router to the internet gateway. Which troubleshooting approach is the technician using? A. Top-to-bottom OSI model. B. Divide and conquer. C. Bottom-to-top OSI model. D. Questioning the obvious. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Bottom-to-top OSI model. Explanation. Option C is correct because the technician is starting at the lowest layers of the network, the user's PC connection, and systematically moving up through the infrastructure device by device, PC, switch, router, gateway. This methodical, layer-by-layer upward progression is characteristic of a bottom-to-top troubleshooting approach. Option A, top-to-bottom OSI model, is incorrect because that would involve starting at the application layer and working down, for example, checking browser settings first, then DNS, then connectivity. Option B, divide and conquer, is incorrect because while similar, this approach more specifically involves splitting the problem in half, for example, pinging a halfway point, rather than a sequential upward path. Option D, questioning the obvious, is incorrect because it is a general principle, not a systematic path-based methodology like the one described. 3. After implementing a fix for a network outage, users confirm they can now access all resources. According to the troubleshooting methodology, What are the crucial next steps the technician should take before considering the issue fully closed? A. Immediately escalate to a senior engineer and start working on a new problem. B. Verify full system functionality. Implement preventive measures if applicable, and thoroughly document the findings, actions, and outcomes. C. Only document the solution and close the ticket. D. Ask the users if anything else is broken. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Verify full system functionality. Implement preventive measures if applicable, and thoroughly document the findings, actions, and outcomes. Explanation. Option B is correct because after a fix is implemented, the troubleshooting process is not over. The final steps are to verify that everything is working as expected, not just the initially reported issue. Determine if any preventive measures can be taken to avoid a recurrence, and fully document the entire process for future reference. Option A, immediately escalate to a senior engineer and start working on a new problem, is incorrect because the job is not complete without verification and documentation. Option C, only document the solution and close the ticket, is incorrect because it skips the critical steps of full verification and implementing preventive measures. Option D, ask the users if anything else is broken, is incorrect because it is only a small part of verifying full functionality and misses the other key steps. Four. A user reports intermittent disconnections from the wireless network. The technician asks, has anything changed recently with your computer or in your work area, like new electronic devices or furniture rearrangement? This question primarily helps with which step of the troubleshooting methodology? A. Test the theory to determine the cause. B. Establish a plan of action. C. Identify the problem by determining if anything has changed. D. Implement the solution. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Identify the problem by determining if anything has changed. Explanation. Option C is correct because a key part of the first troubleshooting step, identify the problem, is to ask if anything has changed in the user's environment. Recent changes are often the root cause of newly emerged problems, and this question helps narrow down potential causes right from the start. Option A, test the theory to determine the cause, is incorrect because this question is part of forming a theory, not testing one. Option B, establish a plan of action, is incorrect because a plan is created after a theory is established. Option D, implement the solution, is incorrect because it is one of the final steps in the process. 5. A network administrator has a theory that a faulty patch cable is causing a user's connectivity issues. They replace the patch cable with a known good one, and the user's connectivity is restored. According to the troubleshooting methodology, what was the purpose of replacing the cable? A. To establish a plan of action. B. To document the findings. C. To test the theory to determine the cause. D. To identify potential effects of a solution. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. To test the theory to determine the cause. Explanation. Option C is correct because the act of swapping the suspect component with a known good one is a direct method to test the theory. If the problem disappears, the theory that the original component was faulty is confirmed. This is a common and effective way to test hypotheses during troubleshooting. Option A, to establish a plan of action, is incorrect because the plan was replace the cable. The action itself is the test. Option B, to document the findings is incorrect because documentation occurs after the test confirms the solution. Option D, to identify potential effects of a solution, is incorrect because this is part of the planning step for more complex changes, not the simple act of testing a theory. 6. A user connects their laptop to a newly installed wall jack, but gets no network connectivity. The link light on their laptop's network card is off. The switch port corresponding to that jack also shows no link. The cable run is approximately 70 meters using Cat6 UTP. The technician suspects the cable was not terminated correctly. What is the most likely issue with an improperly terminated cable that would result in no link? A. Excessive crosstalk between pairs. B. The cable length exceeds the 100-meter limit for Cat6. C. Wires not punched down in the correct order. For example, T568 A/B mismatch, or poor contact in the jack/plug. D. Attenuation is too high due to the cable quality. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Wires not punched down in the correct order. For example, T568 A/B mismatch, or poor contact in the jack plug. Explanation. Option C is correct because a physical link requires correct electrical continuity on all necessary wire pairs. Improper termination, such as incorrect wire order, wire map failure, split pairs, or a poor physical connection in the jack, is a very common cause for a complete link failure. Option A, excessive crosstalk between pairs, is incorrect because crosstalk typically causes performance degradation and errors on an established link, not a complete lack of a link. Option B, the cable length exceeds the 100-meter limit for Cat6, is incorrect because 70 meters is well within the 100-meter standard. Option D, attenuation is too high due to the cable quality, is incorrect because attenuation also usually leads to performance issues rather than a complete no-link state, especially at only 70 meters. 7. A network technician installs a new 10 Gbps fiber optic link between two switches using multimode fiber, MMF. The distance between the switches is 400 meters. After connecting the transceivers and fiber, the link fails to come up. The transceivers are rated for 10 Gbps SR, short-range MMF. What is the most likely cause of the link failure? A. The multi-mode fiber is unsuitable for 10 Gbps speeds. B. The distance of 400 meters exceeds the maximum range for 10 Gbps SR over common MMF types like OM3/OM4. C. Single-mode transceivers were accidentally used with multi-mode fiber. D. The fiber optic cable has excessive crosstalk. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. The distance of 400 meters exceeds the maximum range for 10 Gbps SR over common MMF types like OM3/OM4. Explanation. Option B is correct because different standards and fiber types have strict distance limitations. The 10 Gbps SR standard, for example, typically supports up to 300 meters on OM3 MMF. Exceeding the maximum distance for the specific transceiver and fiber combination results in excessive signal loss. Attenuation, preventing the link from establishing. Option A, the multimode fiber is unsuitable for 10 Gbps speeds, is incorrect because MMF is capable of 10 Gbps, but only up to a certain distance. Option C, single-mode transceivers were accidentally used with multimode fiber, is incorrect because the scenario states 10 Gbps SR transceivers, which are for MMF, were used. Option D, the fiber optic cable has excessive crosstalk, is incorrect because crosstalk is a form of interference that affects copper cabling, not fiber optics. 8. A network switch interface is showing a rapidly increasing number of CRC errors and runts in its statistics. Users connected to this switch are experiencing slow network performance and frequent disconnections. What is a common cause of these types of interface errors? A. A routing loop in the network. B. A duplex mismatch between the switch port and the connected device. C. Incorrect VLAN assignment on the switch port. D. The switch's power supply is failing. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: B. A duplex mismatch between the switch port and the connected device. Explanation: Option B is correct because a duplex mismatch, where one end is full duplex and the other is half duplex, is a classic cause of these specific errors. The full duplex side sends data at will, while the half duplex side listens for collisions, leading to collisions, corrupted frames, CRC errors, and fragmented frames, runts. Option A, a routing loop in the network, is incorrect because it is a Layer 3 problem that causes TTL exceeded messages, not Layer 2 interface errors like CRCs. Option C, incorrect VLAN assignment on the switch port, is incorrect because it would cause a logical connectivity issue, not physical layer errors on the interface. Option D, the switch's power supply is failing, is incorrect because while it could cause unpredictable behavior, a duplex mismatch is a more direct and common cause of these specific error counters. 9. A technician connects a new VoIP phone that requires power over Ethernet, PoE, to a switch port. The phone fails to power on. The switch is PoE capable. The technician checks the switch's PoE status and sees that the overall PoE power budget for the switch has been exceeded. What should the technician do? Next. A. Replace the VoIP phone as it is likely faulty. B. Upgrade the switch's firmware. C. Identify less critical PoE devices connected to the switch and either move them to another switch or disable PoE on their ports to free up power budget. D. Change the network cable, as it might not support PoE. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer: C. Identify less critical PoE devices connected to the switch and either move them to another switch or disable PoE on their ports to free up power budget. Explanation: Option C is correct because if the switch's total PoE power budget has been exceeded, it cannot provide power to any additional devices. The only solution is to reduce the power load by removing other PoE devices from that switch, which frees up wattage in the budget for the new phone. Option A, replace the VoIP phone as it is likely faulty, is incorrect because the identified problem is the switch's power budget, not the phone. Option B, upgrade the switch's firmware, is incorrect because a firmware upgrade cannot change the hardware's physical power delivery capacity. Option D, change the network cable as it might not support PoE, is incorrect because while a bad cable can prevent PoE from working, the confirmed issue is the power budget, not the cable. Two switches are connected via fiber optic cables using SFP transceivers. One switch uses an SFP that transmits at 1,310 nanometers wavelength, and the other switch uses an SFP that transmits at 850 nanometers wavelength. The link between them fails to establish. What is the most likely cause of this issue? A. The fiber cable type, single mode versus multi-mode, is incorrect for both transceivers. B. A wavelength mismatch between the transceivers. C. One of the SFPs is faulty. D. The distance between the switches exceeds the SFP's capabilities. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. A wavelength mismatch between the transceivers. Explanation. Option B is correct because fiber optic transceivers must use a compatible wavelength to communicate. The transmitter on one end must use a wavelength that the receiver on the other end is designed to see. An 850 nanometers transceiver cannot communicate with a 1310 nanometers transceiver, so a link will not form. Option A, the fiber cable type, single mode versus multi-mode, is incorrect for both transceivers. Is incorrect because while using the wrong fiber type is a problem, the fundamental issue described is the incompatible wavelengths of the transceivers themselves. Option C, one of the SFPs is faulty, is incorrect because a configuration mismatch is a more likely and logical first thing to check. Option D, the distance between the switches exceeds the SFP's capabilities, is incorrect because even at zero distance, the link will not work with mismatched wavelengths. 11. A user reports that their network connection is dropping intermittently. A technician inspects the network cable connecting the user's PC to the wall, jack, and notices that the cable is tightly bundled with several power cords for other office equipment and runs parallel to a fluorescent light fixture. Which cabling issue is most likely causing the intermittent connectivity? A. Incorrect cable category, for example, Cat5 instead of Cat6. B. TX-RX pair. Transposition. C. Electromagnetic interference. EMI. D. The cable is too short. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Electromagnetic interference. EMI. Explanation. Option C is correct because sources like power cords and fluorescent light ballasts generate the electromagnetic fields. When UTP network cables are run too close to these sources, the fields can induce unwanted electrical noise, EMI, onto the cable, corrupting the data signal and causing intermittent packet loss and connection drops. Option A, incorrect cable category, is incorrect because this would more likely cause consistent performance issues at higher speeds, not intermittent drops. Option B, TX-RX pair transposition, is incorrect because this would typically result in a complete lack of connectivity, not an intermittent issue. Option D, the cable is too short, is not a recognized cause of connectivity problems. A network administrator checks the status of a switch port and finds it in an error-disabled or disabled state. What is a common reason for a switch port to enter this state? A. The connected device has been powered off. B. The switch has detected a security violation on the port, such as a BPU guard violation or excessive MAC address flapping. C. The port has been manually configured as administratively down. D. The switch is overloaded and cannot handle traffic on that port. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. The switch has detected a security violation on the port, such as a BPDU guard violation or excessive MAC address flapping. Explanation. Option B is correct because the error-disabled, disabled state is a protective mechanism. The switch automatically disables a port when it detects a serious configuration or security issue, such as a port security violation or a spanning tree protocol loop condition, like receiving a BPDU on a port-fast-enabled port. Option A, the connected device has been powered off, is incorrect because this would result in a simple down state. Option C, the port has been manually configured as administratively down, is incorrect because this is a deliberate action by an administrator, not an automatic protective state. Option D, the switch is overloaded and cannot handle traffic on that port, is incorrect because overload would cause packet drops, not put the port into an disabled state. Users in a new VLAN, VLAN 50, report they can communicate with other devices in VLAN 50, but cannot reach servers in other VLANs or the Internet. The Layer 3 switch is configured with SVIs for all VLANs, including VLAN 50, and has appropriate IP addresses. Routing between other existing VLANs works fine. What is a likely misconfiguration preventing inter-VLAN routing for VLAN 50? A. Spanning tree protocol has blocked the SVI for VLAN 50. B. The default gateway on the client devices in VLAN 50 is not set to the VLAN 50 SVI address. C. An access control list, ACL, is explicitly blocking all traffic from VLAN 50. D. The SVI for VLAN 50 is administratively down. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. The default gateway on the client devices in VLAN 50 is not set to the VLAN 50 SVI address. Explanation. Option B is correct because for a device to communicate outside its own subnet, it must send traffic to its default gateway. In an inter-VLAN routing setup, the default gateway for clients in a VLAN is the IP address of the corresponding switch. Virtual interface, SVI. An incorrect or missing gateway configuration on the clients is a very common cause of this specific problem. Option A. Spanning tree protocol has blocked the SVI for VLAN 50 is incorrect because STP operates at Layer 2 and does not block Layer 3 SVIs. Option C. An access control list, ACL, is explicitly blocking all traffic from VLAN 50 is incorrect because while possible, an incorrect client gateway is a more fundamental and likely cause for a complete failure of inter-VLAN routing. Option D. The SVI for VLAN 50 is administratively down is incorrect because this would also likely prevent communication within the VLAN if devices are on different switches. A network technician recently added a new switch to the network. Shortly after, users start reporting widespread network slowness and intermittent connectivity issues across multiple segments. The technician suspects a network loop might have been inadvertently created. If a loop is present, which Layer 2 protocol, if not functioning correctly or overwhelmed, would fail to prevent this situation? A. Virtual Router Redundancy Protocol, VRRP. B. Open Shortest Path. First, OSPF. C. Spanning Tree Protocol, STP. D. Address Resolution Protocol, ARP. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Spanning Tree Protocol, STP. Explanation. Option C is correct because Spanning Tree Protocol, STP, is the specific layer. Layer 2 protocol designed to prevent broadcast storms and MAC table instability by detecting and logically blocking redundant paths in a switched network. If a loop is introduced and STP is misconfigured or disabled, these problems will occur. Option A, Virtual Router Redundancy Protocol, VRRP, is incorrect because it is a Layer 3 protocol for default gateway redundancy. Option B, Open Shortest Path. First, OSPF, is incorrect because it is a Layer 3 routing protocol. Option D, Address Resolution Protocol, ARP, is incorrect because it is used to resolve IP addresses to MAC addresses. 15. A company has a DHCP server that is supposed to provide IP addresses to 200 client devices in the 192.168 1.0/.24 subnet. Users start reporting that they are unable to obtain IP addresses, and some are getting APIPA addresses 169.2544 XX. The administrator checks the DHCP server and notices that all available IP addresses in the defined scope have been leased out. What is this problem called? A. DHCP relay agent failure. B. Duplicate. IP address conflict. C. DHCP scope address. Pool exhaustion. D. Incorrect DHCP lease time. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. DHCP scope address pool exhaustion. Explanation. Option C is correct because DHCP scope exhaustion is the term for when a DHCP server runs out of available IP addresses in its pool to lease to new clients. This forces new clients to fail the DHCP process, often resulting in them self-assigning an IPA address. Option A, DHCP relay agent failure, is incorrect because this would affect clients on a different subnet from the server. Option B, duplicate IP address conflict, is incorrect because this is when two devices have the same IP, not when the server has no IPs left to give. Option D, incorrect DHCP lease time, is incorrect because while a long lease time can contribute to exhaustion, the problem itself is the exhaustion of the pool. (16) A user is configured with the IP address 1.2.168.1.0.5.0 subnet mask 25.5.5.255.25.0 and default gateway 192.168.1.1. The user can access resources on their local 192.168.1.0.0/24 network, but cannot access the Internet or any servers on other subnets. Other users in the 192.168.1.0.0/24 network with gateway 1.9.2.168.1.0.1 can access everything fine. What is the most likely cause of this user's problem? A. Duplicate IP address 1.9. 2.1.68.1.0.5 and the 0, B. The user's subnet mask is incorrect. C. The user has an incorrect default gateway address configure. D. The DNS server address is missing. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. The user has an incorrect default gateway address configured. Explanation. Option C is correct because a device's default gateway must be on the same logical subnet as the device itself. The user's IP is on the 192.168.10.0/24 network, but their gateway is configured as 192.168.1.1, which is on a different network. This prevents the user from sending any traffic outside their local subnet. Option A, duplicate IP address, is incorrect because this would cause conflicts, but not necessarily this specific symptom. Option B, the user's subnet, the mask is incorrect because the /24 mask is appropriate for the user's IP address. Option D, the DNS server address is missing, is incorrect because this would cause name resolution failures, but the user would still be able to access resources by IP address if the gateway were correct. 17. Users are complaining that accessing files from a central file server is extremely slow, especially during peak business hours. Network monitoring tools show that the switch port connected to the file server has extremely high utilization, consistently near 100%, while other network segments seem fine. What is this specific performance issue called where a single point is overloaded and restricting overall throughput? A. High latency. B. packet loss. C. Network bottlenecking at the server's switch port. D. Jitter. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Network bottlenecking at the A server's switch port. Explanation. Option C is correct because a network bottleneck occurs when a single point in the network path has insufficient capacity to handle the volume of traffic, slowing down the entire process. In this case, the server's switch port is the bottleneck, as its limited capacity is preventing data from flowing faster. Option A, high latency, is incorrect because it is a symptom of the bottleneck, not the bottleneck itself. Option B, packet loss, is incorrect because it is also a symptom of the congestion caused by the bottleneck. Option D, jitter, is incorrect because it refers to variations in delay, which primarily affects real-time traffic like voice and video. During a video conference, participants report that the audio and video frequently freeze, skip, or become garbled, but the connection itself doesn't usually drop completely. This suggests that while packets are arriving, their arrival times are highly irregular. What is the term for this variation in packet arrival delay that severely impacts real-time applications like video conferencing? A. Bandwidth saturation. B. Attenuation. C. Jitter. D. Crosstalk. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Jitter. Explanation. Option C is correct because jitter is the term for the variation in packet delay. Real-time applications like voice and video require a steady, predictable stream of packets. High jitter means packets arrive at inconsistent intervals, causing the receiving application to struggle to play them back smoothly, resulting in distorted audio and video. Option A, bandwidth saturation, is incorrect because it is when the link's capacity is exceeded. Option B, attenuation, is incorrect because it is the loss of signal strength over distance. Option D, crosstalk, is incorrect because it is interference between wire pairs in copper cables. 19. A company has recently deployed a new wireless network in its office. However, users in certain areas, particularly near the kitchen microwave or in rooms far from the access points, report very weak Wi-Fi signals and frequent disconnections. What is the most likely cause of these issues? A. Incorrect WPA3 encryption settings. B. Signal degradation or loss due to interference, microwave, and distance obstructions. C. The DHCP server is not assigning IP addresses correctly to wireless clients. D. Roaming is misconfigured on the access points. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Signal degradation or loss due to interference, microwave, and distance key obstructions. Explanation. Option B is correct because Wi-Fi signals are radio waves that are weakened, attenuated, by distance and physical objects. They are also susceptible to interference from other devices using the same radio frequency, like a 2.4 GHz microwave oven. These factors combined are a common cause of poor wireless performance. Option A, incorrect WPA3 encryption settings, is incorrect because this would likely prevent a connection from being established at all, rather than causing weak signal strength. Option C, the DHCP server is not assigning IP addresses correctly to wireless clients, is incorrect because this would prevent a client from getting an IP address after connecting, not cause a weak signal. Option D, roaming is misconfigured on the access points, is incorrect because this affects how a client moves between APs, not the signal quality in a fixed location. 20. Users in a large warehouse with multiple access points. And APs report that their wireless connections drop and then re-establish as they move around with their handheld scanners. The APs are all part of the same ESID and use the same security settings. The issue seems to be that the scanners are sticking to a distant AP with a weak signal for too long before trying to connect to a closer AP. This scenario points to a problem with A. Insufficient AP transmit power. B. Wireless client disassociation. C. Incorrect channel assignments causing code-channel interference. D. Misconfigured wireless roaming parameters, or poor AP placement affecting handoff. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. D. Misconfigured wireless roaming parameters, or poor AP placement affecting handoff. Explanation. Option D is correct because the sticky client problem is a classic roaming issue. It occurs when a client device fails to smoothly hand off from one AP to another as it moves. This can be caused by poor AP placement, incorrect power level settings, or client-side roaming logic, resulting in the device holding on to a weak signal for too long. Option A, insufficient AP transmit power, is incorrect because while it contributes to weak signal areas, the specific sticking behavior points to a roaming problem. Option B, wireless client disassociation, is incorrect because it is the symptom, not the underlying cause. Option C, incorrect channel assignments causing co-channel interference, is incorrect because this would cause general poor performance, not specifically the roaming issue described. 21. A user reports they cannot access the website www.CompTIA.org. The technician wants to quickly test basic network connectivity from the user's computer to that specific web server by its host name, checking if DNS resolution is working and if the host is reachable. Which command line utility would be most appropriate for this initial test? A. ipconfig/all. B. ping bu.comptia.org. C. netstat. And D. agrps says A. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer B. ping w.comptia.org. Explanation. Option B is correct because the ping command is a fundamental utility that tests both DNS resolution and network reachability. It first attempts to resolve the host name to an IP address and then sends ICMP echo request to that IP. A successful reply confirms both steps are working. Option A, ipconfig/all, is incorrect because it only shows the local computer's network configuration. Option C, a netstat AN, is incorrect because it shows active network connections on the local machine. Option D, ARPA, is incorrect because it shows the local ARP cache, IP to MAC mappings. (22) A network administrator suspects that traffic from a user's PC to a specific server is taking an unexpectedly long and inefficient path through the network. To identify all the intermediate routers, hops, between the user's PC and the destination server, and to measure the round-trip time to each hop, which command line utility should be used? A. NSLOOKUP. B. ping. T. C. traceroute. Or trace it on Windows. D. getMAC. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer C. traceroute, or trace it on Windows. Explanation. Option C is correct because traceroute, or trace it on Windows, is a diagnostic tool specifically designed to map the path that packets take to a destination. It lists each router, hop, along the path, and measures the latency to each one, making it ideal for identifying routing issues and delays. Option A, NS-lookup, is incorrect because it is used for DNS queries. Option B, ping-t, is incorrect because it sends continuous pings to a single destination but does not show the path. Option D, getMAC, is incorrect because it displays the MAC addresses of the local computer's network adapters. (23) A technician needs to verify the local IP address, subnet mask, and default gateway configured on a Windows computer. Which command line utility would provide this information? A, ifconfig, B, rootprint, C, ipconfig, D, hostname. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C, ipconfig. Explanation. Option C is correct because the ipconfig command is the standard utility on Windows operating systems for displaying the current TCP/IP network configuration details for all network adapters, including the IP address, subnet mask, and default gateway. Option A, ifconfig, is incorrect because it is the equivalent command used on Linux and Mac OS systems. Option B, rootprint, is incorrect because it displays the IP routing table. Option D, hostname, is incorrect because it displays only the computer's name. (24) A network technician is trying to locate a specific unlabeled network cable that runs from a wall jack in an office to a patch panel in a crowded wiring closet. They have a tool that consists of two parts, a tone generator and a probe. They connect the generator to the wall jack and then use the probe in the closet to listen for the tone on the cables connected to the patch panel. What is this tool called? A, cable tester, B, multimeter, C, toner probe, tone generator, D, optical time domain, reflectometer, OTDR. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C, toner probe, tone generator. Explanation. Option C is correct because a toner probe and tone generator kit, often called a fox and hound, is the specific tool used for tracing and identifying a single cable within a large bundle. The generator applies a tone to one end, and the inductive probe audibly detects that tone on the other end. Option A, cable tester, is incorrect because it is used to verify the wiring and integrity of a cable, not to locate it in a bundle. Option B, multimeter, is incorrect because it measures electrical properties like voltage and resistance. Option D, optical time domain. Reflectometer, OTDR, is incorrect because it is a sophisticated tool for testing fiber optic cables. (25) A network engineer is analyzing a .psap file captured during a network issue. The file contains all the raw packet data. To view the individual packets, their headers, like IP, TCP, UDP, and their payloads in a human-readable format, which type of software tool would the engineer use? A, a network mapping tool. B, a port scanner, like Nmap. C, a protocol analyzer, like Wireshark or TCP dump. D, a bandwidth speed tester. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C, a protocol analyzer, like Wireshark or TCP dump. Explanation. Option C is correct because a protocol analyzer is a tool designed to capture, decode, and analyze network traffic. Tools like Wireshark provide a graphical interface to inspect every part of a captured packet, making them essential for deep network troubleshooting. Option A, a network mapping tool, is incorrect because it is used to discover and diagram the network's topology. Option B, a port scanner, like Nmap, is incorrect because it is used to identify open ports on network hosts. Option D, a bandwidth speed tester, is incorrect because it measures network throughput, not inspects individual packets. 26. A technician is at a switch and needs to quickly identify which MAC addresses have been learned on a specific interface, for example, Gigabit Ethernet 0/5. Which show command, syntax may vary slightly by vendor, would typically display this information? A. Show IP interface brief. B. Show MAC address, table interface. Gigabit Ethernet 0/5. Or similar. C. Show running config. D. Show ARP. Do you know the answer? Correct. Answer B. Show MAC address, table interface. Gigabit Ethernet 0/5. Or similar. Explanation. Option B is correct because the command to display the MAC address table, or CAM table, is the standard way to see which MAC addresses the switch has learned and on which ports. Filtering this command by a specific interface shows exactly which devices are connected to that port. Option A, Show IP interface brief, is incorrect because it shows the IP status of interfaces, not the learned MAC addresses. Option C, Show running config, is incorrect because it shows the device's configuration, not its operational state tables. Option D, Show ARP, is incorrect because it displays the ARP table, IP to MAC mappings, on a Layer 3 device, not the Layer 2 MAC learning table. 27. A user is experiencing slow performance when accessing websites. A technician suspects DNS resolution might be slow or failing. To query the configured DNS server directly for the IP address of www.google.com and see details about the lookup process, which command line utility would be most suitable on a Windows or Linux machine? A. Netstat. B. Tracer www.google.com. C. NSLOOKUP www.google.com. Or dig www.google.com on Linux. D. Pathping www.google.com. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer C. NSLOOKUP www.google.com. Or dig www.google.com on Linux. Explanation. Option C is correct because NSLOOKUP and dig are specialized DNS diagnostic tools. They directly query DNS servers to perform name resolution, providing detailed output about the success or failure of the lookup, which is perfect for isolating DNS-related problems. Option A, Netstat R, is incorrect because it displays the routing table. Option B, Tracer www.google.com, is incorrect because it traces the network path to a host. Option D, Pathping www.google.com, is incorrect because it is a tool that combines ping and traceroute functionality. (28) A network administrator needs to identify all active hosts and open TCP/UDP ports on a specific subnet, for example 192.168, 1.0/24, for a security audit and network inventory. Which powerful command line network scanning tool is specifically designed for this type of network discovery and port scanning? A. Ping. B. Nmap. C. TCPDump. D. RPE. Can Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B, Nmap. Explanation. Option B is correct because Nmap, CompTIA Network Mapper, is a powerful open-source tool specifically created for network discovery, security auditing, and port scanning. It can efficiently scan entire subnets to identify live hosts, open ports, running services, and operating systems. Option A, ping, is incorrect because it can only test the reachability of one host at a time. Option C, TCP dump, is incorrect because it is a packet capturing tool, not a network scanner. Option D, ARP, is incorrect because it only views or manipulates the local ARP cache. 29. A network technician has tested several theories for a user's connectivity problem, but none have resolved the issue. The problem seems more complex than initially anticipated. According to the troubleshooting methodology, if a theory is not confirmed, what is the recommended next step? A. Immediately replace the user's computer. B. Keep trying the same theory with minor variations. C. Establish a new theory of probable cause. Or escalate the problem to a more senior technician or specialized team. D. Tell the user the problem cannot be fixed. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Establish a new theory of probable cause or escalate the problem to a more senior technician or specialized team. Explanation. Option C is correct because this is the proper procedure. If a theory is proven false, the troubleshooter should either formulate a new one based on the information they have, or recognize the limits of their expertise and escalate the issue to a higher tier of support. Option A, immediately replace the user's computer, is incorrect because it is a drastic and costly step taken without a proper diagnosis. Option B, keep trying the same theory with minor variations, is incorrect because it is inefficient if the underlying theory is wrong. Option D, tell the user the problem cannot be fixed, is incorrect because it is unprofessional and premature before escalation has been attempted. 30. A technician is installing a new Cat6a cable run for a 10 Gbps connection. After termination, they use a high-quality cable certification tester. The tester reports fail due to excessive near-end crosstalk. Next. What does this indicate about the cable installation? A. The cable is too long, exceeding the maximum distance for Cat6a. B. There is too much signal attenuation along the cable. C. There is excessive signal interference, bleeding from one wire pair to an adjacent pair at the end of the cable closest to the transmitter. D. The cable has an open circuit in one of the wire pairs. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. There is excessive signal interference bleeding from one wire pair to an adjacent pair at the end of the cable closest to the transmitter. Explanation. Option C is correct because near-end crosstalk, next, is a measurement of the unwanted signal interference from one twisted pair onto an adjacent pair, measured at the end of the cable where the signal is transmitted. Excessive next is often caused by improper termination techniques, like untwisting the pairs too much, and can severely degrade high-speed network performance. Option A, the cable is too long, exceeding the maximum distance for Cat6a, is incorrect because this would primarily cause an attenuation failure. Option B, there is too much signal attenuation along the cable, is incorrect because attenuation is a different measurement related to signal loss over distance. Option D, the cable has an open circuit in one of the wire pairs, is incorrect because this would cause a wire map failure, not a next failure. Struggling with your IT certification exams? We've all been there. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, your ultimate resource for IT exam success. Find over 15,000 plus questions and answers. Join our thriving community of over 10,000 plus active students and the impressive 100% success rate with our premium exam support. Visit MyITCerts.com today and take first step towards guarantee success. 31. A switch port connected to a server is configured for 1000 megabits per second, full duplex. The server's network card is also set to auto-negotiate. Users report very slow performance to this server. Upon checking the switch port, the administrator notices it has negotiated to 100 megabits per second, half duplex. What is the most likely cause of this incorrect auto-negotiation result? A. A faulty network cable, for example, only 2 pairs working correctly. B. The server's network card driver is corrupted. C. The switch port is administratively configured to 100 megabits per second, half duplex. D. Spanning tree protocol has put the port in a listening state. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. A faulty network cable, for example, only 2 pairs working correctly. Explanation. Option A is correct because Gigabit Ethernet, 1000 megabits per second, requires all 4 wire pairs in the cable to be functional. If one or more pairs are damaged or improperly terminated, the auto-negotiation process will fail to establish a gigabit link and will fall back to a lower speed like 100 megabits per second, which only requires 2 pairs. Option B, the server's network card driver is corrupted, is incorrect because while possible, a physical layer issue like a faulty cable is a more common cause for this specific symptom. Option C, the switch port is administratively configured to 100 megabits per second, half duplex, is incorrect because the scenario states the switch was configured for 1000 full, implying a negotiation failure. Option D, spanning tree protocol has put the port in a listening state, is incorrect because STP states relate to loop prevention, not speed and duplex negotiation. (32) A network has several interconnected switches. The administrator notices that one switch, SW1, has all its ports in a forwarding state for all VLANs, and its bridge priority is lower, numerically better than all other switches. What role is SW1 most likely playing in the spanning tree protocol topology? A. A designated bridge for one segment. B. The root bridge for the STP domain. C. A backup root bridge. D. A non-forwarding switch due to a loop. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. The root bridge for the STP domain. Explanation. Option B is correct because the switch with the lowest bridge ID, a combination of priority and MAC address, is elected as the root bridge in an STP topology. A key characteristic of the root bridge is that all of its active ports are in the forwarding state, as designated ports, as it is the logical center of the network. Option A, a designated bridge for one segment, is incorrect because while other switches can be designated bridges for specific segments, only the root bridge has all its ports as designated. Option C, a backup root bridge, is incorrect because it would have a higher priority and would likely have at least one blocked port or a root port. Option D, a non-forwarding switch due to a loop, is incorrect because the root bridge is the primary forwarding switch. 33. A company wants to restrict access to its guest Wi-Fi network. They decide that only devices whose MAC addresses have been pre-registered and approved by IT should be allowed to connect. When a device attempts to connect, its MAC address is checked against this approved list. What is this access control method called? A. 802.1.x authentication. B. Captive portal authentication. C. MAC address. Filtering. D. WPA3 enterprise. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. MAC address filtering. Explanation. Option C is correct because MAC address filtering is a security measure that restricts network access to only those devices whose MAC addresses are on a pre-approved list. While it is not a strong security control on its own, as MACs can be spoofed, it provides a basic layer of access control. Option A, 802.1 EVISX authentication, is incorrect because it is a more robust, port-based authentication framework that typically uses credentials or certificates. Option B, captive portal authentication, is incorrect because it uses a web page for user login or agreement to terms. Option D, WPA3 Enterprise, is incorrect because it is a modern Wi-Fi security protocol that uses 802.1x for authentication. 34. A remote office connects to the headquarters via a WAN link with a provisioned bandwidth of 10 megabits per second. Users in the remote office report that applications accessing servers at HQ are very slow. Monitoring shows that the 10 megabits per second link is consistently utilized at 95 to 100% during business hours. What is the most likely cause of the slow performance? A. High latency on the WAN link. B. Insufficient bandwidth capacity on the WAN link. Bandwidth contention. C. Jitter on the WAN link. D. A misconfigured default route at the remote office router. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Insufficient bandwidth capacity on the WAN link. Bandwidth contention. Explanation. Option B is correct because the monitoring data clearly shows the WAN link is saturated. When the traffic demand exceeds the available bandwidth, packets get delayed in queues or dropped, leading to severe performance degradation for all users. This is a classic case of a bandwidth bottleneck. Option A, high latency on the WAN link, is incorrect because while latency can cause slowness, the 100% utilization points directly to a bandwidth capacity problem. Option C, jitter on the WAN link, is incorrect because it primarily affects real-time applications and is a symptom of congestion, not the root cause. Option D, a misconfigured default route at the remote office router, is incorrect because this would typically cause a complete loss of connectivity to HQ, not just slowness. (35) A technician suspects that a network device, for example a switch or IP phone, connected to a switch port is not from their company's approved vendor list. They want to quickly identify the vendor of the device by looking at information exchanged between it and the switch. Which Layer 2 discovery protocols could provide vendor information as part of their advertisements? A. ARP and RARP. B. OSPF and EIGRP. C. LLDP, link layer, discovery protocol. And CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol. D. ICMP and SNMP. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. LLDP, Link Layer Discovery Protocol, and CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol. Explanation. Option C is correct because both LLDP, the industry standard, and CDP, Cisco's proprietary version, are Layer 2 protocols where devices exchange information about their identity and capabilities with their directly connected neighbors. This information typically includes vendor, device model, and OS version, making them ideal for this purpose. Option A, ARP and ROP, is incorrect because they are used for IP to MAC address resolution. Option B, OSPF and EIGRP, is incorrect because they are layer, DOR3 routing protocols. Option D, ICMP and SNMP, is incorrect because they are used for network control messaging and management, respectively, not for Layer 2. Neighbor discovery in this manner. 36. A user reports they cannot connect to a server named FileServe01. A technician wants to check if the user's computer can resolve the host name FileServe01 to an IP address using the configured DNS servers. Which command would directly test this DNS resolution? A. Ping FileServe. 01. B. Show DNS cache. Not a standard client command. C. nslookup FileServe. 01. D. RPD FileServe 01. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. nslookup FileServe 01. Explanation. Option C is correct because nslookup is a command line tool specifically designed to query DNS servers. It directly tests the name resolution process and provides detailed feedback, making it the best choice for isolating a DNS problem. Option A, ping FileServe01, is incorrect because while it does perform a DNS lookup, a failure could be due to either DNS or a connectivity issue, so it doesn't isolate the problem as well as nslookup. Option B, show DNS cache, is incorrect because it is not a standard command on Windows or Linux to view the client's DNS cache. Option D, ARPD FileServe 01, is incorrect because ARP works with IPA addresses, not host names, to manage the ARP cache. 37. A technician needs to check the current status of all network interfaces on a Linux server, including their IP addresses, MAC addresses, and traffic counters, received transmitted packets, errors. Which command line utility would provide this detailed interface information on a Linux system? A. ipconfig/ dear all. B. netstat. I. C. IPAdderShow. Or the older ifconfig. D. Show interface status. Router/switch command. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. IPAdderShow, or the older ifconfig. Explanation. Option C is correct because on modern Linux systems, the IPAdderShow command is the standard utility for displaying detailed information about all network interfaces, including their state, IP addresses, and MAC addresses. The older ifconfig command served a similar purpose. Option A, ipconfig/all, is incorrect because it is the equivalent command for Windows systems. Option B, netstat. E, is incorrect because it typically shows a less detailed summary of interface statistics. Option D, show interface status, is incorrect because it is a command used on network devices like Cisco routers and switches, not on a Linux server OS. 38. A network administrator wants to view the active TCP connections, listening, TCP and UDP ports, and Ethernet statistics on a Windows server. Which command line utility can provide all of this information? A. nbtstat, C. B. getMAC, C. netstat, with various options like A, N, O, E, D. ARPA. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. Netstat, with various options like A and N-0-E. Explanation. Option C is correct because the netstat, network statistics, command is a versatile tool that, with different flags, can display all the requested information. For example, netstat AA shows all connections and listening ports, and netstat E shows Ethernet statistics. Option A, NBT Statia and C, is incorrect because it shows the NetBIOS name cache. Option B, GetMAC, is incorrect because it only displays MAC addresses. Option D, ARP-A, is incorrect because it only displays the ARP cache. 39. A fiber optic cable is suspected to have a break or a bad splice somewhere along its run between two buildings. To pinpoint the exact location of this fault along the fiber's length, which specialized hardware tool would a technician use? A. A visual fault locator, VSFL. B. An optical time domain, reflectometer, OTDR. C. A fiber light meter, Tarnlet optical power meter. D. A fiber cleaver. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. An optical time domain, reflectometer, OTDR. Explanation. Option B is correct because an OTDR is a sophisticated testing instrument that works like radar for fiber optics. It sends light pulses down the fiber and analyzes the reflections to precisely locate faults like breaks, bends, and bad splices, and reports their distance from the testing point. Option A, a visual fault locator, VFL, is incorrect because it is a simpler tool that injects visible light to find breaks over very short distances. Option C, a fiber light meter, optical power meter, is incorrect because it only measures the total signal loss over the entire link. It cannot locate a fault. Option D, a fiber cleaver, is incorrect because it is a tool used to prepare fiber for splicing or termination. 40. A technician is troubleshooting a wireless connectivity issue in an office with many existing Wi-Fi networks. They need to see all nearby Wi-Fi networks, their SSIDs, signal strengths, RSSI, channels they are operating on, and security types to identify potential channel overlap or interference. Which type of tool would be most helpful? A. A protocol analyzer like Wireshark. B. A command line ping utility. C. A Wi-Fi analyzer. Or Wi-Fi scanner, Stumbler. D. A cable certifier. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. A Wi-Fi analyzer or Wi-Fi scanner/Stumbler. Explanation. Option C is correct because a Wi-Fi analyzer is a tool specifically designed to scan the wireless environment and provide a comprehensive overview of all nearby networks, their signal strengths, and the channels they use. This is essential for diagnosing issues related to interference and coverage. Option A, a protocol analyzer like Wireshark, is incorrect because it is used for deep inspection of captured packets, not for a high-level survey of the RF environment. Option B, a command line ping utility, is incorrect because it only tests network connectivity. Option D, a cable certifier, is incorrect because it is a tool for testing wired Ethernet cables. 41. During the establish a theory of probable cause step of troubleshooting, a technician thinks the user can't print. Maybe the printer is out of paper, or it's offline, or there's a network issue to the printer. This act of considering several simple and common possibilities first is an example of A. Approaching multiple problems individually. B. Questioning the obvious. C. Duplicating the problem. D. Using a top-to-bottom OSI model approach. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: B. Questioning the obvious. Explanation: Option B is correct because questioning the obvious is a fundamental troubleshooting principle. Before diving into complex diagnostics, it is efficient to first check for simple, common, and often overlooked issues like a device being powered off or out of supplies. Option A, approaching multiple problems individually, is incorrect because this refers to how to handle multiple separate reported issues. Option C, duplicating the problem, is incorrect because it is part of the initial identify the problem step. Option D, using a top-to-bottom OSI model approach, is incorrect because it is a systematic approach used for more complex problems after the obvious has been ruled out. (42) A newly installed Cat6 UTP cable run is about 90 meters. The connection works, but file transfers are extremely slow, and a cable tester shows high attenuation values for the link. What does high attenuation signify? A. Too much interference from external sources like power lines. B. The signal strength is significantly weakening as it travels from one end of the cable to the other. C. The transmit and receive pairs are swapped at one end of the cable. D. The cable is not terminated according to T568A or T for 568B standards. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: B. The signal strength is significantly weakening as it travels from one end of the cable to the other. Explanation: Option B is correct because attenuation is the technical terms for the loss of signal strength as it travels through a medium. Excessive attenuation caused by factors like long cable distance or poor cable quality can weaken the signal so much that the receiving end cannot reliably interpret it, leading to errors and slow performance. Option A, too much interference from external sources like power lines, is incorrect because this describes crosstalk or EMI, not attenuation. Option C, the transmit and receive pairs are swapped at one end of the cable, is incorrect because this would likely cause a complete link failure. Option D, the cable is not terminated according to T568A or T568B standards, is incorrect because this would result in a wire map failure and likely no link. 43. A user is trying to access an internal server by its IP address, for example 10.0.5.10, but is unsuccessful. However, other users on the same logical subnet can access this server. The problematic user can access other network resources and the Internet. Their IP configuration seems correct: IP, mask, gateway, DNS. What is a common IP configuration-related issue that could specifically cause this user to fail to connect, potentially with an IP address conflict message appearing on their OS? A. The server's default gateway is misconfigured. B. The user's PC has a duplicate IP address with another device on the network. C. The DHCP server's address P for that subnet is exhausted. D. The user's PC has an incorrect Win server address. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer: D. The user's PC has a duplicate IP address with another device on the network. Explanation: Option B is correct because a duplicate IP address conflict occurs when two devices on the same network have the same IP. This can cause unpredictable connectivity problems for one or both devices, including the inability to communicate with certain hosts, which matches the symptoms described. Option A, the server's default gateway is misconfigured, is incorrect because this would likely affect all users trying to communicate with it from other subnets. Option C, the DHCP server's address pool for that subnet is exhausted, is incorrect because this would prevent the user from getting an IP address in the first place. Option D, the user's PC has an incorrect Win server address, is incorrect because Wins is a legacy name, resolution service, and would not affect direct IP-based communication. 44. A company has many employees using bandwidth-intensive cloud applications. The internet connection is a 1 Gbps fiber link. During peak hours, monitoring shows the link utilization is only around 300 to 400 megabits per second, yet users still complain of extreme slowness. Further investigation reveals that the company's Edge firewall, which processes all internet traffic, has its CPU utilization consistently at 95 to 100% during these times. This scenario suggests that the performance bottleneck is most likely A. Insufficient internet bandwidth from the ISP. B. The firewall's processing capacity being exceeded. C. High latency on the internet link itself. D. Widespread malware on user workstations consuming bandwidth. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. The firewall's processing capacity being exceeded. Explanation. Option B is correct because even if the internet link has ample bandwidth, the firewall's processing power can become the bottleneck. When the firewall's CPU is maxed out, it cannot forward packets fast enough, leading to delays and perceived slowness for users, despite the underutilized internet pipe. Option A, insufficient internet bandwidth from the ISP, is incorrect because the monitoring data shows the link is not saturated. Option C, high latency on the internet and link itself, is incorrect because while it can cause slowness, the 100% CPU on the firewall is a more direct and evident cause of the problem. Option D, widespread malware on user workstations consuming bandwidth, is incorrect because this would be reflected in higher bandwidth utilization on the link. (45) A technician is at a user's desk and needs to determine the MAC address associated with the default gateway's IP address, as learned by the user's Windows computer. Which command line utility would display the computer's local ARP cache, showing IP to MAC address mappings? A. ipconfig/displayed ANS. B. netstat RSS. C. ARPSA. D. root. N. Linux syntax. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. ARP. Explanation. Option C is correct because the ARP, a command, is used to display the contents of the Address Resolution Protocol ARP cache. This cache stores the mappings between IP addresses and their corresponding MAC addresses for devices on the local network segment, including the default gateway. Option A, ipconfig/displaydns, is incorrect because it displays the DNS resolver cache. Option B, netstat S, is incorrect because it displays protocol statistics. Option D, route N, is incorrect because it displays the routing table, and this syntax is for Linux, not Windows. 46. A network administrator is configuring a new Cisco switch. After making several changes to VLANs and interface settings, they want to view the entire currently active configuration that the switch is using. Which command would they typically use on a Cisco iOS device to see this? A. show IP route, B, show version, C, show running config, D, show CDP neighbors. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C, show running config. Explanation. Option C is correct because the show running config command on a Cisco iOS device displays the entire configuration currently running in the device's memory, or RAM. This includes all settings for interfaces, VLANs, routing, and other features. Option A, on show IP route, is incorrect because it displays the IP routing table. Option B, show version, is incorrect because it displays hardware and software version information. Option D, show CDP neighbors, is incorrect because it displays information about directly connected Cisco devices. 47. A small office is experiencing issues where some devices get IP addresses like 192, 168.1, X and others are getting 192.168.77. X. The legitimate office router is configured for the 192.168, 1.0/24 network. The administrator suspects a Soho router was improperly connected to the network and is acting as a rogue DHCP server. Which tool or technique would be least directly helpful in identifying the physical location or port of the rogue DHCP server? A. Checking switch. MAC address tables for the MAC address of the rogue DHCP server, once its IP is known. B. Using a protocol analyzer to capture DHCP, offer packets, and examine their source. IP. C. Disconnecting network segments one by one until the rogue DHCP offers stop. D. Running NSLookup on a client that received a rogue IP address. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. Running NSLookup on a client that received a rogue IP address. Explanation. Option D is correct because NSLookup is a tool for diagnosing DNS issues. While a rogue DHCP server might also provide a rogue DNS server address, running NSLookup would not help in locating the physical source of the DHCP server itself. The other options are all direct methods for tracking down the device. Option A, checking switch. MAC address tables for the MAC address of the rogue DHCP server is incorrect because this is a primary method for locating the physical port of the device. Option B, using a protocol analyzer to capture DHCP offer packets, is incorrect because this is an effective way to identify the source, IP and MAC of the rogue server. Option C, disconnecting network segments one by one, is incorrect because this is a valid, albeit disruptive, method of physical isolation. (48) A technician is troubleshooting a fiber optic connection that is down. They want to quickly check if there is light being emitted from the transmit port of a transceiver or the end of a fiber patch cable. Which simple, relatively inexpensive tool would they use for this basic light presence test, keeping safety in mind? A. An OTDR. B. A fusion splicer. C. A visual fault locator, VFL, or a safe optical power meter. Check. D. A fiber microscope. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. A visual fault locator, VFL, or a safe optical power meter check. Explanation. Option C is correct because a visual fault locator, VFL, injects a visible red light that can be used to trace a fiber and visually identify breaks over short distances. For checking for live and often invisible traffic, a quick check with an optical power meter is a safe and effective method. It's extremely important never to look directly into a fiber optic cable. Option A, an OTDR, is incorrect because it is a complex and expensive tool for detailed fault analysis, not a quick light check. Option B, a fusion splicer, is incorrect because it is a tool for permanently joining two fibers together. Option D, a fiber microscope, is incorrect because it is used for inspecting the cleanliness and quality of a connector's end face, and looking into a live fiber with it is extremely dangerous. 49. A new switch was just installed, and the network administrator wants to confirm which VLANs are configured on it and which ports are assigned to each VLAN. Which show command would typically provide this information on many managed switches? A. Show IP interface brief. B. Show VLAN or show VLAN brief. C. Show spanning tree. D. Show power in line. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Show VLAN or show VLAN brief. Explanation. Option B is correct because commands like show VLAN are the standard way to display a summary of all configured VLANs on a switch. The output typically includes the VLAN ID, name, status, and a list of ports assigned to each VLAN. Option A, show IP interface brief, is incorrect because it shows the status of IP interfaces, not VLAN port assignments. Option C, show spanning tree, is incorrect because it displays the status of the spanning tree protocol. Option D, show power inline, is incorrect because it displays the status of power over Ethernet. 50. A user complains their internet speed is very slow. The technician wants to get a quick real-world measurement of the user's current download and upload throughput to the internet. Which type of tool or website would be most appropriate for this? A. Running a continuous ping to Google's DNS server. B. Using Traceit to a popular website. C. Using an online internet speed tester website or application. D. Checking the link speed of the user's network adapter in Windows. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Using an online internet speed tester website or application. Explanation. Option C is correct because online speed test sites are specifically designed to measure real-world internet throughput. They transfer files to and from a nearby test server to calculate the user's current download and upload speeds, providing an accurate picture of their connection's performance. Option A, running a continuous ping to Google's DNS server, is incorrect because ping measures latency and packet loss, not throughput. Option B, using Traceit to a popular website, is incorrect because traceroute measures the path and latency to each hop, not throughput. Option D, checking the link speed of the user's network adapter in Windows, is incorrect because this only shows the speed of the local connection to the switch, not the actual internet speed, which is often much slower. You have reached the end of our question set. For the complete exam preparation experience, visit us at MyITCerts.com, where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. You can study completely free using our study materials and questions, and ace your exams with confidence. Thank you for studying with us today. See you in the next video.